Hello and welcome, I'm JD, and in this game we are going to play the OSP. I've got a fleet here that is designed for both close engagements with one-line ships supported by mass drivers for top cover, and then we're playing on pillars 4v4, 3,000 points each. This game doesn't run to completion because I do drop out at the end. However, I think it is a good learning opportunity both for me and for anyone else who wants to watch it. So with that said, let's get into the game. Going to get one of the clippers straight into point E, and the other ones I'm just centering around the left hand side of the map, with the fizzy foil being my spotting ship just sitting in the middle. We've also got the OSPN Secrets Secrets Best Left Known, I should say, off to the left, and then we've also got some mass drivers in the center with the FDSZ capping on B. Alright, so you can see on the top left hand side here we've got one brawling ship, so I've basically loaded this one out with plasma and T-30s, just designed to sort of get in there nice and close. And then I've also got one which is just mass drivers on one side. I did have a little issues when designing this, trying to figure out the power, because I wasn't really sure how to do that. So my thinking was I'd have each of the mass drivers in their own weapons group. That was a bad idea and will overtax my ability to micromanage during this game. So I'm sending a clipper straight into E. I want to get that nice and early for the team, and because the mass drivers are on the left hand side of my line crew, my bulk liner, I want to rotate that early with the roll command. We are going to start to move to the left hand side, so upon spawning in, you can see that my mate also had, and when I say my mate I just mean teammate, has two monitors, and it also has another line ship as well, which will have a number of T-30s and plasma. In the center we've got two of the bulk liners with mass drivers. They'll basically just provide Overwatch, and he's got an early warning radar, so he can sweep the battlefield, and then between him and myself, or TA and myself, we've got two LRT bloodhounds for those more targeted searching. Off to the right hand side we've got it's either Task Force Ash or a similar Task Force Ash played by Khalid Papa. Now that's like one of his first games. He does really well. He's off to cap point B, and he's just going to sit there for this game and defend that point with his life. One of the issues that I've found with the bulk liners is just the fact that I'm not used to how slow they turn, and you will probably see that throughout this game. Just trying to get them onto target can sometimes be a little bit of an issue for me. And I probably overestimate how quickly they turn, so I'm not positioning them as well as I should be in terms of having them rolling and heading. I'm also probably not doing the best in my target selection, so I keep looking at one side of the map and the other side of the map instead of just concentrating on the left hand side. There's no point. I should either commit to supporting the left hand side with the mass drivers and my spotting ship, or supporting my own ship as intended within this fleet build, that the mass drivers provide Overwatch for the Brawler ship, which is the line ship with the T-30s and the plasma. With E capped, I'm going to move the clipper out just in case there were any follow-up missiles. It did have its own sort of point defense. It's also got some rockets, which I don't think I really get to use on that ship, but get it out. That way I can move it around later. I could have also gone straight into A as well, which could have been a better play there. So just something for next time.
Reverse thrust.
here's what I was talking about. I was bringing the mass driver back around, trying to provide assistance to the right hand side, and if I so wanted to, then I should have been also looking at the range of my tug and the Bloodhound radar, just so that I would have been actually in range in terms of providing the best track quality possible through the Bloodhound. TA in the middle, he's been throwing off a number of mass drivers towards D because we saw something there, and we've captured B over with Khalid. See the mass drivers in the middle, that's 3 light cruisers sitting on point B, 250mm equipped on those.
Course laid in.
The OSP, so the, what's its name?
We're underway.
So here,
We're reading you. Course laid in.
on the Clippers I also put pinpoint radars, so the idea was to offset the Clippers with the pinpoints, just so that I could get in nice and close and provide that better track to the Plasma and to the T30s. I sort of severely underestimated how close
What are our orders,
6.5 kilometers can be, and that I think will also get me into a little trouble later on. You can see that the eyes, or the,
We're underway.
I think that's the early warning radar from TA, just got taken out, which is a bit of unfortunate. If you are playing Alliance,
Solution locked in.
then you can use a mix of missiles and pinards to try and find out where those ships are. And you can see that I've got on the mass driver ship, I've put each of those railguns within their own battery. So what I was thinking, and I didn't think this through, or test it enough I should say, is that I would have each one of them fire in sequence, and then as they were reloading I would get the next one to fire, which would enable me to get around the power issue. I forgot that the power requires that the power draw also includes the fact that it was I forgot the fact that the power is also required to reload and recycle the weapon. So effectively it wasn't as good as I thought in terms of just an overall build.
We're reading you. On it. Awaiting your orders, Commander.
I'm starting to outpace my teammate on the left hand side here. Probably should have been more closer with them, being that individual ship, and he's got 3, then we would have combined point defense networks, and we would have also been able to put out a lot more damage, I think, once we all turn a corner. Here you can see I'm moving my Kappa ship down. I realise that I do need to take A because it is 2 for 2 and we are slightly behind. I'm going to use the terrain piece there to try and get down. Hopefully I can get close to it and then avoid any missiles that may be thrown my way. Light cruisers and Ocellos on the right hand side, so that's effectively 2 players worth, all coming up against these beam ships. Khalid could have probably moved behind and stayed a little bit further back around that terrain piece, just to make them come to him. It would have been better for the ambush, but you know, it was one of his first games, and honestly, he does pretty well.
Commands on the line. Orders.
The interesting thing about watching a lot of these videos back and then doing a voiceover later is that you can really combine that game knowledge with the fact that sometimes you know what happens later on. You can see if something works. I was trying to get line of sight there for all the mass drivers, but I couldn't because the terrain was blocking the way. We see something up the top, track 1906, or 1906, and so we're going to start to rotate all our mass drivers. So my mass drivers, TA's mass drivers, you can see Khalid in the background. He's just fighting all those missiles. There's a rail ship up there, so a rail battleship actually. Now that's not something that's in the current favour now that the Mark 82 has been removed from the game, but I
right away.
I'm sorry, mate, I forget your name. The bulk ship that's on the left-hand side, he's throwing a lot of plasma up there. That's going to help our mass drivers. I'm trying to turn my ship around, and we've both brought our LRT Bloodhound radars onto 1906 with all of the mass drivers focusing there.
Yes, Commander.
So with a 30 meter penetration distance, if we can strip some of the armor off, then we can penetrate a little bit further into that battleship.
We hear you, Command.
Again, I'm outstripping my friends on the left with my battleship. However, Khalid on the right hand side, getting those beams now onto target, starting to destroy some of the enemy ships. Now he's up against 2 players by himself, and he's holding out over there. You can see as well in regards to my positioning, the Kappa ship, which is meant to provide the locks, isn't far enough ahead to provide that vision for the more vulnerable and slower bulk ship, and the mass driver isn't in a position or doesn't have an angle to get behind where that attack here position A is. So even though I'm rotating around and firing at the battleship, if my brawling line ship at the moment becomes under attack, or if there was something else that was there, I have basically thrown my line ship away and into the jaws of danger because it has nothing to support it. A lot of mass drivers being fired. You can see just the amount that comes out from a couple different ships. You see that my power issue, I have to keep cancelling orders and then refiring orders. It's not very efficient here. So this ship basically, or I think this fleet basically needs to go back to the drawing board and determine, is it long range, is it close range, what is its purpose when I'm actually building that ship.
We can take him.
Line ship getting in some shots now onto the light cruisers. I am being jammed, and I don't have a wide enough angle to cut through the jamming and providing that offset scout with the funky man. So I do keep sending the brawler forward, but I will eventually pull it back because I want to use, there I go, I want to use cover, make sure that I'm getting the fire onto the enemy, but limiting their fire arcs as well. We're also taking some hits, so I don't want to get too damaged and not being able to repair. Here's my funky firing solution. It is not efficient. Do not do this. Back to the drawing board for me. At this point, I should have noticed that the 2 monitors and the bulk line ship, or the bulk cruiser, I've forgotten the name, is going towards the battleship, and I've gone off to fight the light cruisers by myself. I need to basically just pick a target, and I should have gone at this point here right up and continued with the best secrets best left known. Secrets best left known. We did move into Cap A. At this point, I'm pretty comfortable to know that most of the where most of the ships on the map are. There's light cruisers around D, there's a battleship up high, there's 2 players off to the right hand side, and I can get that that clipper into A to cap it. I'm not that far behind, so if we get that point, we'll definitely leapfrog into the front.
Course laid in. We hear you, Command.
Continuing off to the left, should have continued a right a little bit more, or straight a little bit more, but that's okay.
Yes, Commander. What are our orders, Commander?
Khalid's still firing. Now I think he's lost one. He's fighting a heavy cruiser with some 450s and a beam, and he's got light cruisers over here as well. I think he's lost one of his destroyers, and it looks like he's still got 2 going as well. So still fighting the good fight over on B. You can also see that he was making good use of cover and starting to pull back. AP ammunition being fired from the T-30s. You may hear cockatoos outside, or the noise gate may actually block that out for once. And we're now into A. I'm just going to start to position to get back out should I need to.
We'll be there before you know.
I'm going to peek around the top of D. I could have also just gone around the right-hand side. So if I knew they were on the left, I could have gone around the right. Would have been a little bit slower, but I could have probably taken D and then forced the light cruisers to come around either one side or the other. If they had come around both sides at the same time, I'd actually set up my weapon groups so that I had plasma and 100 millimeters, or I had 4 weapons groups. I had left plasma, right 100s, or 100 millimeter, and left 100 millimeter. So I could effectively engage in 2 different directions. I could have gone around the right, the top of D around the right, slid in to cap it, and then sat there and waited for the 250s to peak. At that point, the traversal limits of the plasma and the T30s would have done their job. And that's how that should have played, but I kept pushing the light cruisers, and that wasn't really a good idea, nor did it get basically the objective. So I lost sight of the objectives, more for doing damage. Repositioning the mass drivers, we're still getting the shots up to the battleship. We don't have eyes on it, so we don't know, is it almost dead, is it dead? We just know that the track's still there, so we're going to start firing at it. We're going to bring the clipper up, maybe we'll cap C, maybe we'll just see something up there. I also started to consider, well, because the clippers have, there you go, you can see we started to really strip the armor. We've knocked out most of the turrets. To bring my clipper up with the rocket ship, which had rockets on it, just so that I could fire the rockets almost point blank at that battleship. And at like 60 meters per second, it's going to be fine. I should have got there in a fair amount of time.
Heads up, enemy missile.
Okay, power is back. We're reading you. Hold impact.
Now, whilst we capped A, we did lose B. We were pushed off that, unfortunately, but with 2 players over there, that was sort of inevitable. We did hold it for a very long time, and we did manage to get slightly in front, which in the next tick, the Alliance will actually take the lead once again. But it caps there for me, still caps, and as I struggle to type a message that doesn't have caps, there we go. Alright, scores are even. We're taking D, so we managed to get the Elder Hall as a clipper in there. Thank you, my friend.
Command, we are under fire.
You did what I should have done.
We hear you, Command. We're being targeted.
But the light cruisers start to peak, and now the mass drivers are in position. So you can see my weapon groups there. I wanted to fire across 2 or 3 different ships. I think I got the actual the left side and the right side of the ship the wrong way, as I think I'd rolled. So I partly wanted to do this just to scare him. I could have focused fire on one ship, but I think I had enough firepower at that range to spread the fire, whilst I also then knew that the mass drivers were going to come in as well, either to get the 3rd ship or just to simply put some extra damage into the 2 that I had.
Okay, power is back. Yeah, we see him. Reactor power is low.
I think and there I go. I end up splitting the mass driver fire across the 3. I believe I got hits on target. I didn't actually provide any visual confirmation for myself, but considering they're looking fairly static, I think we would have been okay.
Yeah, we've got him now. Reactor power is low.
SGM hybrid looks like it misses, and I'm also thinking, okay, well, whilst I've got that the light cruisers distracted by the mass drivers and the Brawler ship, then I'll bring the Kappa ship with the rockets in as well, and see if I can get some rockets on target to take out the light cruisers.
Yes, Commander.
We've taken back D, so 4 points behind, but we are coming back. A couple ticks will take the lead again. I think we're pulling away from the battleship up on track 1906. Sorry if you heard my chair just squeak. It looks fairly done, so we're going to get out of that. Now I went turrets. Oh, okay, we took a lot of 250 fire there. Unfortunately, that clipper isn't going anywhere now. I went turrets on the Brawler. I am not super comfortable yet using the casemates, just because I'm not used to the line ships. I will eventually, I think, transition over to the casemates, but I haven't been able to feel comfortable. Got some purple bloom, so it looks like a reactor overload potentially up on the battleship. There goes my clipper.
We're reading you.
Even from the fire I've been taking, I'm okay. Just give it a pause.
Looks like we're being jammed.
At this point, whilst it's easy to say now that, yeah, Khalid was probably fighting two players, I didn't know this at the time. So, you know, props to him. His fleets are dead now, but he did hold B.
Ready. Solution locked in. Low
I am
power
trying to
running.
get some of my mass drivers onto target with the reins.
Right away, Commander. We're underway. Awaiting your orders, Commander. Force laid in.
I decided to keep pushing around the left-hand side here with the Brawler, Mild Comb.
Yes, Commander.
I don't know if that was a good choice. Like I said, the line ship's just
We'll be there before you
a little bit slow in turning. And once I get around that corner, then my mass driver, which was designed to support that ship, isn't going to be able to support that ship. So I think a key takeaway or key learning point is remembering what your fleet was built to do and then executing based on that. So we have taken the points ahead, about 30 points ahead now.
We hear you, Command.
Some missiles hitting up on TA's ships.
You heard the orders.
Now I see something up here and I keep trying to find it. There it is. And then it disappears when I try to
Let's go.
get the Bloodhound back onto it. Every time I lock onto it, it then disappears. So I keep trying to positionally firing and just sweeping left and right. If we had that early warning radar still, or a early warning radar, probably would have done a lot more.
You heard the orders. Let's go.
It would have done a lot better. You can see that I also used a warning signal not only to notify my teammates, but also to help me provide a bit of a target reference point of where I thought the enemy was, so that I could then better guide my early warning radars onto it. There it is again, and then it'll disappear. I reckon what he's actually doing is toggling the radar off. So he's turning it on, he's doing what he needs to do, and then he's turning it off, and that's why I keep losing it every time. And it could just be a really small ship, it could be a frigate, I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if I'll ever find out.
Tracking target.
Receiving.
Back to seeing the light cruisers again. We're playing a game of, you know, cat and the tortoise, with me being the tortoise. We're halfway to winning, which is excellent. We are losing A, which is in the center. That's a heavy cruiser down there, so we do need to switch our attention to it. But we're also capping C up the top as well.
We're reading
See,
you.
the 3 light cruisers have pulled around to the rear side of D,
Incoming.
and we can see that. So braking, engaging. We're close enough that we are able to engage. 3,000 meters, I can see them. However, my clipper is still not there to support that ship, which is problematic. And I think what was occurring is I was just getting so tied up with this mass driver ship, I was forgetting about the smaller ships and the spotters as well, which not only support me, but support the rest of my team.
Command's on the line. Those bastards have a lock.
Here I realise that I can actually support the team, but I'm too far away. I've positioned, I'm not within 14,000 meters. I'm at 17, so I'm too far away to support the mass drivers of TA.
Power systems function.
And so I just decided to start shooting with my own mass drivers, but I'm not going to have the best track quality on them.
We're taking component
We're
damage.
firing grape shot there. I don't want grape shot. We're going to switch over to HEHC. Probably should have used HE.
Can't do it, Commander.
But I think at this point I was thinking that we'd done enough plasma damage on them. Although if you remember a couple seconds ago, maybe 30 seconds ago, we could see that the nose of the back leftmost light cruiser probably didn't take any damage. So HE or AP would have been the better option. I don't think I brought any AP on this one because I just assumed the plasma would do all the stripping. Something to revisit, I think.
We're getting a low power.
And this micro is killing me. I am not built for micro. It's not something that I have practiced. If you're a new player, I suggest building ships that are simple to use so that you can focus on the bigger picture just as much as the smaller actions and directing your ship, whilst also enjoying the beautiful visuals. I think I missed the mark in developing this fleet because I made it too complicated for myself. Still got 5 restores, so not too bad. We haven't taken an overwhelming amount of damage from the light cruisers, and at this point, what is it coming up? Yep, okay, so that one's dead. That was a little Corvette. Alright, at this point, I disconnect. So you can see that the no connection is coming up. I'm wondering what's going on. I'm still giving orders because I haven't noticed yet. At this point, we are ahead, but we will end up losing because I've disconnected, Khalid's out, and I think I don't know what happens if everyone disconnects or if everyone, we just lose on points. But yeah, we effectively, we lose here. I think it was a very valuable game because I realized, I think when I built this fleet, like I was saying, I didn't build it to really, and I didn't execute based on what I wanted to do, and I made it too complicated for myself. So I think for line ships, for me, I either need to go range or I need to go sort of mid to close, and no one will ever receive that message because there's no internet. And then I think I just need to tweak it from there. Maybe play with some tugs if I want mass drivers. Sorry, not tugs, monitors if I want to provide mass drivers as well. I will need to play with that. But ultimately, I enjoyed this game, even though that it disconnected. I thought it was still worthwhile as a learning opportunity, even though the game didn't run to completion. So yeah, we'll see what happens next time. Thanks for watching and take care.